Peace and love, everyone. Namaste. Welcome to Not Church East and West. Got a critter out there right now, a red squirrel yakking it up. Get the wind blowing. I'll turn down the critter a little. Hi, Martha. Good morning, Tim. Thanks for being here, everybody. Yes, so we've been exploring Dr. Neil Douglas-Klotz's book, Revelations of the Aramaic Jesus, the Hidden Teachings on Life and Death, for many months. And we're rapidly approaching the end of this study. So if you have suggestions, let me know what you want to dive into next. I've already got some info. Some people talking about the Upanishads. Some people are talking about the Gospel of Thomas. Let me know what you want, what you're interested in. Say so in the comments. Say so in the chat. So today we're going to talk about Yeshua, Jesus, Peter, and near-death experiences, the Aramaic meaning of divine love. This is a post-resurrection story that we're going to get into. But before we begin, let's spend a moment. Hey, Holly. All right, let's spend a moment here and just kind of get into our breath, get into our inner awareness, join together. Let's center in a little bit. Just take a moment or so. Bring our minds and our breath into our hearts. Lift up your heart. So the Gospel of John presents a unique and deeply symbolic exchange between Jesus, Yeshua, and Peter in John 21:15-17. And if I'm getting too intellectual in these talks, let me know. This is, I'm sounding more like a professor to myself, so let me know what you think of what I'm presenting. But this passage, which follows Jesus' resurrection, so he's dead and he's come back, and Peter has a vision of him, and it features a significant dialogue centered around love and responsibility, culminating in Yeshua's directive to Peter, and this may sound familiar to some of you, to feed my lambs and feed my sheep. A comparative analysis of the Aramaic translation, thank you, Dr. Neil Douglas-Klotz, and the King James Version, KJV, reveals this notable linguistic and interpretive differences that offer deeper insights into the meaning of this passage. And it's because of Dr. Neil Douglas-Klotz's translations found in the aforementioned book that we're able to take a look at this. So furthermore, when this passage is considered through the lens of near-death experiences, NDEs, Yeshua's message to Peter can be seen, dun dun, as a moment of radiant energy, energetic transmission, impartation of divine love, in Aramaic, Rahm, R-A-H-M, akin to the experiences of those of us who've met luminous beings in our NDEs or NDE-like encounters. Now, you don't need an NDE to have that kind of experience, but many of us who are NDEers do have that kind of experience. And many people who have mystical experiences also encounter luminous beings, angels in the Christian parlance. But before delving into John 21:15-17 specifically, it's important to recognize this passage's broader context. Okay, so the four canonical Gospels, remember that those were chosen politically back 300 years into the whole deal, and other Gospels were excluded. So these four canonical Gospels present, here it is, different accounts of the pre-Christian, pre-crucifixion, crucifixion, and post-crucifixion events. So the story of his death, and Easter's coming up in April, the story of his death differs in every one of those Gospels, and so does the crucifixion. The day differs, and the aftermath differs. So this highlights the details about Yeshua's death and his subsequent appearances, which In the Gospel of John, he appears to the disciples in one way, and in the other Gospels, he appears in other ways. So Yeshua appears to his disciples in John while they're fishing, and is seen absent from all the other synoptic Gospels. So the other canonical Gospels, another word for that is synoptic, Matthew, Mark, and Luke in particular. So in this scene, the disciples are fishing and Jesus shows up. And this lack of uniformity among the Gospels in these accounts suggests that the Gospel writers, the schools of thought that shaped these narratives, emphasize specific theological, social, and even political themes that they're self-interested in, rather than providing a strict historical record. It's not a strict historical record. The writer influences what happens in the story. And for instance, the Gospel of John, it's arguably the most mystical of all the canonical Gospels, the four Gospels. Not, we still get the Gospel of Thomas, which is more so, and Philip and Mary. But the canonical Gospels, it's arguably the most mystical, and yet it's also notably anti-Semitic. It's two things at once. And this is the perspective of the writers. One of the central elements of John 21:15-17 is Yeshua's question to Peter, "Do you love me? Do you love me?" In the King James Version, renders this using the Greek terms, two words, agapao and phileo, interchangeably, and it's often interpreted as a distinction between agape, divine love, and philia, brotherly love, sisterly love. But those two emphasis are not evident in the English translations. One word, love. However, in the Aramaic version, it offers a different perspective by using the word Rahm, R-A-H-M, a word that signifies a profound, womb-like, womanly-like, womb-like love, love that is where the mother bonds with the baby before the baby's even born, womb-like love, radiating from one's deepest being. This nuance enriches the dialogue, emphasizing affection and love deeply rooted in the very fabric of existence and responsibility. It's conceivable that as Yeshua spoke these words, his Rahm, his radiant womb-like love, was a verbal communication and an energetic projection, a luminous force transmitted to Peter. And this aligns with NDE accounts where mystical experiencers like myself and maybe you describe our encounters with the radiant beings of light that communicate through waves of non-linguistic, unconditional love, and reflects the transfiguration. Remember the transfiguration? Jesus is on the mountain. He becomes luminous, whiter than snow, and alongside him is Moses and Elijah, and they are luminous beings up on that mountaintop. This is a similar sort of thing that's happening between Yeshua and Peter. Yeshua, he questions Peter, and it may not have been merely verbal, but a moment of profound spiritual impartation, enveloping Peter in the divine presence, which is expressed in the Aramaic and a little lost in the Greek. The King James Version translates Yeshua's commands as "feed my lambs" and "feed my sheep." And in the Greek it says that, but what's the meaning behind that? Without further elaboration, he says, "Feed my lambs, feed my sheep," and then he doesn't go into it. But the Aramaic, however, provides a more layered understanding. So here's the King James Version so that you know it, and then we'll do Dr. Klotz's translation. This is the King James Version. "So when they had dined," remember they're at the shore, they had fish, they were cooking the fish. "When they had dined, Jesus saith to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou more than these? Lovest thou me more than these? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, Thou knowest I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my lambs. He saith to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my sheep. He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time. So Peter's thinking about what happened at the campfire a couple of days ago. We'll get to that. Lovest thou me? And he saith unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. And Jesus saith unto him, Feed my sheep. And as Dr. Neil Douglas-Klotz renders it from the Aramaic, if your love radiates from the deepest womb-like place, then guide the way to wisdom and transmission I have offered. Make sure that you guide those ways and they are established in various circles. Take responsibility for how it all ends up. Beginning lambs, ending sheep. You're responsible. Let this energy come from you to them. So let's unpack Dr. Neil's translations and how did he arrive here. So the word lambs, imre. The Aramaic term inre relates to the beginning, the lambs, the beginning to speak or express something. Its roots suggest a fresh ray of light, Ra. It sounds a little bit like Egypt, right? Ra. Or new ray of light emanating from the mother, Am, A-M, signifying something newborn in its early stages of development. Jesus is using metaphor here. He's talking about the beginning of new stages of development. And this interpretation implies that Peter is entrusted with nurturing the newly initiated followers of Jesus, Yeshua. I kind of said Jesus, Yeshua, who are starting their spiritual journey. Sheep, erbe. In contrast, erbe refers to the completion of the process. So we have the beginning and we have the completion. The root uber, U-H-B-R, is associated with the setting sun, the end of the day, and the act of making a pledge symbolizing maturity, commitment, and the fulfillment of the spiritual journey. This suggests that Peter's role extends beyond the guidance of new believers to ensure the steadfastness and continued growth of the more established community of faith. It's not just about the beginning, it's about helping all the way along. And in the KJV, the King James Version, feed is generally used, feed my sheep. However, in the Aramaic, the word is ray, R-A-I-Y, and it carries a much broader significance and encompasses feeding, guiding, and leading those wandering. This aligns with the notion of a shepherd's duty, reflecting the good shepherd. Remember the good shepherd metaphor? And earlier in John's Gospels, you maybe remember that from your childhood. Peter's instruction involves providing for followers the physical and spiritual nourishment, guiding them along the path of Yeshua's radiant wisdom, and ensuring the continuity of his energetic teachings. That's the job that he's given to Peter. And Yeshua's message to Peter isn't just an ancient story, it's an archetype of spiritual transformation. And here's how closely it relates to people with NDEs. One, the encounter with unconditional love. NDE experiencers like me consistently describe being enveloped in a luminous presence that radiates pure unconditional love. This mirrors the Aramaic word Rahm, which Yeshua embodies. He embodies this and he projects towards Peter. The question, do you love me, isn't merely rhetorical, but an invitation for Peter to resonate with this divine love and embody it. In asking the question, Yeshua radiates the answer to Peter inside of the question, inside of Peter. So it's not just he's asking the question, he's giving him the answer. And in my first NDE, when unconditional love, mercy, welcome, and healing were offered to me, the question to me was, Will you accept my unconditional love? And in answering yes, the love itself became me and was the answer itself, with an uppercase I, with that itself. The question embodies the answer, and the answer becomes the experience. 2, the life review and the call to responsibility. Now, many NDEers, we undergo a life review. Not everybody, but lots of us do have a life review where we relive key moments and understand the impact of those moments on others. And similarly, Peter's threefold denial of Jesus before the crucifixion. You might remember this. You will deny me 3 times before the cock crows. And he's like, no, I won't. And yeah, he does. So his threefold denial of Yeshua before the crucifixion is counterbalanced by his threefold affirmation of love. Because as Jesus is talking about this, Peter's thinking about that denial. So in essence, Peter is undergoing a divine life review where he's not judged, he's not condemned, but lovingly guided toward a renewed mission. You did these things. I love you. Here's how you love me. I give this to you. I give you this love. It was Peter's opportunity for redemption and transformation without judgment. 3, being sent back with a mission. Now, many NDEers and many individuals who experience that, NDEs, that we report being told, it's not your time. You have work to do. And we return with a renewed sense of purpose, a job, a mission, a calling, as they say in Christianity, a calling. Yeshua's words to Peter reflect just that. He gets a commissioning, or maybe it's a recommissioning. Feed my lambs, feed my sheep. Bring this divine energy to them. Peter's sent back into the world with a divine mission, a purpose, a calling. Although I wasn't told it's not your time yet. I was told, come and stay if you wish. I too returned with this calling of undeniable knowing, drive, and compulsion. And I didn't really want the job. That I had to bring to this experience, this message. I had to bring this message, which isn't my message. Don't look at me. Look at the one being of universal divine love to the world. And I'm not the only one bringing the message. That's the amazing thing of it. There are millions of us. And there's something else happening here in this story. Yeshua has already passed through death and returned. He speaks to Peter not just as a teacher, but as one who has gone beyond and come back with a mission. Jesus has a mission here too. His mission is to commission. This happens when people return transformed, conveying love, unity, and divine purpose, even in our imperfection. Yeshua is doing the same thing, ensuring Peter understands and carries the work forward. Yeshua's words to Peter in John 21:15-17 aren't just about leadership in the historical sense or the founding of the church. And that wasn't what really happened anyway. Peter wasn't told that's to found the church. That's a thing that the church put in there. They're about a mystical transformation that has been echoed in near-death experiences and near-death-like experiences throughout time and today. Unconditional love as the highest truth, the call to responsibility and service, the transformation of fear into purpose, being sent back with a mission, the shift from ego to selfless service, the realization of divine unity, the continuation of consciousness beyond death. Peter's experience mirrors that of many NDEers and NDE-like experiencers. He encounters divine love, gains a new understanding of his purpose, and is sent forth to share that love with the world. Archetypal. And I view this more than just an historical moment or even a metaphorical moment. It's a pattern, a template for those of us who have encountered the beloved beyond death or in life and returned with a mission to share it. We're all in this together. A force of positivity, and truth for today. Tens of millions of us. My own NDE affirmed that the golden spark of love that I saw inside of every human being and everything everywhere, but particularly in humans, it's the foundation of reality, just as Yeshua conveyed to Peter. It's not just something we believe. It's not something I believe at all. It's something we know, live, and share. And if you're listening to me today and you haven't tuned out, you're still here, and this resonates with you, then you are one of us, because it speaks for itself inside us, and it knows itself. And we're here all on the same mission, with the same calling as Peter. So here's my interpretation of John 21, 15, 17, leaning into the Aramaic. If your love flows from the deepest womb-like source of creation, then shepherd the unfolding of the wisdom and transmission the divine has given, has entrusted, that Jesus entrusted to us, sharing and ensuring its establishment and the hearts and lives of those it touches. Take responsibility for its fulfillment and how it comes to fruition. We feed the sheep. We are the sheep. We are the lambs. And we share the food that's given to us. And we help each other with the wisdom that we've been given to help it all come to fruition. And that's where we are headed as a planet. I've talked about this before. Never in the history of the world has it been like this before. And yet there are forces at work that are not in favor of this. But yet here we are, tens of millions of us, having been touched by the same radiance. This radiant call represents our mission in this beautiful hellscape. And if not us, then who? And if not now, then when? Feed my lambs, feed my sheep. Do you love me? Of course I love you. Do you love me? I love you. Do you love me? I love you. Thanks for joining me this morning, and really thanks for your support. It's been difficult lately, and I appreciate that your people support this program. It makes a huge difference. Your support makes Not Church Mystic Tea Salon, which is coming up at the top of the hour. Find the link in the description. That you make our meditation groups possible. You make all of this possible because of your support, and I sincerely appreciate your help. So this Mystic Tea Salon, if you have never joined us, it's a crowdsourced wisdom. Everybody who's had these NDEs and NDE-like experiences, mystical experiences of 1,000 kinds, wisdom comes with it. It's crowdsourced wisdom, collective. And you can find the links, as I said, in the description. I'm available for counseling, consultation, spiritual conversation, mystical experience reflection, and integration. On Sunday afternoons, and Monday through Wednesdays. And you can visit, if you want to, peterpanagore.love to book a session. And before I go, I'm going to say that I want to thank you all for being here and for bringing your wisdom. I'm going to take a look over here before I go anywhere, a few minutes. Let's see, skimming back up to here. Mary Magdalene Gospel and the Gospel of the Beloved Companion. Oh, all right. Mary Magdalene. That's an interesting idea. Hey, Martine, maybe that's a good idea. I would love to take a deeper look at Mary Magdalene. Eris Peak, great suggestion, says Janet to Ellen. Good morning from Long Island. Hey, Living for Joy. Love Ellen's suggestion. Oh, you're getting a lot of votes there. Mary Magdalene, bringing in the feminine. Yes to Mary Magdalene, says Jen. Jen Holly says the same. Is the divine love an expanded feeling or an emotional expression? Asked Robert. It's not so much an emotion. It touches into emotion, but it's an expanded feeling. This kind of love we're talking about is it's much bigger than human love. It incorporates human love, but it's so much bigger. And Christian's like, yeah, like that transformation without judgment. It's a shame that everything about this realm fights against that message of unconditional love. This place could be a paradise, says Martha. It could be. Maybe it can be. Peter's denial proves there was no time within the farmer's realm and profound forgiveness. Yeah. Talking true with Holly Hoyle, I didn't really want the job. Love that. I can resonate. Yeah. Thank you. I was asked, will you do this work? You'll be misunderstood and accused of many things. And I said, yes, anyway. That's how it feels to me too. And especially because I'm totally imperfect. Okay. It's like David. Hi, David. One of us, says Tom. We don't believe we know, says Robert. He's an NDE. Robert's an NDE. Martha, yep, here we are. I'm trying to sort out how this informs my nascent ideas about joining protests. Much to consider. Thank you. Ever want to talk about it, Wanda? I'm here. You're welcome, Wes. Do it. It's lovely, says Tom. No one knows when the end will come, but when it does, we will be safe as we know. Amen, people. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for liking and subscribing. I sure appreciate your support. Let me know if this is too intellectual. It sounds like the Gospel of Mary is getting some big, huge thumbs up. I think that's a great idea. Something that we could delve into. Maybe we could choose a book together and go through one of the books and do it here. And anyway, so I'll see you in a few minutes. The link at Mystic Tea for Mystic Tea Salon is in the description. Not too intellectual. Thanks, Holly. Not too intellectual, says Martha. Thank you. I worry that I'm too much in my head all the time. Thank you for saying so. I appreciate that. I do sound like I'm a professor to myself. All right. I will see you in a few minutes. I will turn it on. I'll maybe a minute later or so, but I'll see you soon. Peace and love to you all. Thank you for being here. See you soon.